The charity Oxfam has been forced to apologise for covering up a sex scandal after allegations have been made of staff members holding sex parties abroad that were attended by prostitutes. Ministers have threatened to withdraw government funding, and the charity CEO admitted that there had been failures of moral leadership. So should Oxfam lose their funding completely? Are our charities being run in the right way? Because we all do our best, don't we? I'm forever giving boxes of clothes away to various charities. You assume everything that you do, every little bit that you do, it's for the right reasons. And I think this is a devastating story today. I really do.
It is, and I think it's, again, a lesson that it's not actually the event at the time that does for you, it's the cover-up.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the biggest problem is, because, you know, let's face it, there are thousands of fantastic aid workers who do a brilliant job in very trying circumstances. But it's like any profession, any walk of life, you get a few bad apples. But for Oxfam to try and keep it quiet, and I understand why they did, because they don't want to damage the brand. They think people might not donate anymore. But it was wrong. It was wrong.
Whose expense do you not want to damage the brand? I mean, the person that is being accused went on to work for another charity. I mean, that's on Oxfam's, you know, it's on their head be it, because they didn't tell that next employer what he had been accused of and what he'd done. So then that person could do it to somebody else. I mean, at what expense are you going to cover your own back as a charity? It's insane.
Well, that's why they're having the issue that they have. But then, of course, it's such a big subject, because you get into, do you then, you know, we are committed as a country to giving a certain amount of international aid every year. And so if you withdraw that aid, what happens then in those countries where that aid is no longer... So it's a huge, huge issue. But the biggest problem for me is that the previous Minister for Overseas International Development, Priti Patel, has said, well, I brought this up when I was Minister. And she what was her quote that I wrote down? Hang on, where are we? She said, this is a culture of denial, referring to sexual abuse, in the aid sector.
How can that go then? I mean, on deaf ears for that amount of time? That's the bit that annoys me then.
Astonishing.
The upsetting thing is that all of the people, like you said, that give up their hours and their time and work aimlessly to make things better, that are a part of Oxfam and all of the other amazing charities that aid in countries that need it, are getting completely tarred with the same brush. And unfortunately, their hard work gets completely pushed aside, and everyone gets tarred with the same brush.
It comes down to transparency. My son, my 12-year-old, was learning through religious studies at school. A question was put to him: why some people don't give to charity? How is this statement true or false? And he discussed it with me. And what he was saying is, how do we know when we give money, Mummy? How do we know that it really does go to the people that are in need? And
what a sensible question for a young man.
And it's, you know, we always talk about children being our future and teaching them, and we do teach our children, of course, you know, and we all, I know, help with our local charities and be hands-on and help others. But then when these kind of stories come out, it sort of leaves you really lost.
Is give to a local charity, largely run by volunteers, where you can see where the money is going. You know, I mean, I know they have to get that big, but the minute you start... So, you know, Oxfam started off in a church in Oxford, a little committee of people trying to get help to people that had been affected in World War II. And it's grown into this sort of, like, corporate behemoth, you know, with chief executives, and the minute I start seeing that, I'm afraid I put my money elsewhere, because I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, that's just my own personal...
It's like feet on the ground, isn't it? It's just getting in there yourself. My brother does a lot of local charity work, and what he decided to do was, when he raised money, he would find out from the charity what exactly they wanted, and then he would raise the money and put on Facebook or whatever, this is where our money's going, and then see the project through to the very end.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I, like you, Jane, I love to support my local charities and people that really, you know, need some publicity or just extra help, or maybe don't get as much funding as bigger charities. But also I recognise that these huge charities can make massive differences and create brilliant campaigns that can raise loads of awareness. So you don't really want to eliminate either. You don't want to sort of lose funding for the big ones and create more for the small ones.
exactly.
You want a bit of both and a happy balance. It's just unfortunate that when things like this happen, and there are some awful, awful people out there that nobody can control, everybody sort of turns their back on something that is really excellent.
Yeah. Well, we should very quickly before we move on, we have to give Oxfam right of reply. It is clear that such behaviour is completely outside our values and should never be tolerated. We apologise unreservedly. We have made big improvements since 2011, and today I commit that we will improve further.